YouTube, what the crap's going on? A slightly grizzled HeirofCarthage here, but probably not much more grizzled than usual. But yeah, I've been fighting off a little bit of a cold the last couple days, so my recording has probably been a little bit short because otherwise I would have just been coughing at you, which I'm sure you like. Anyway, I am here in an Empire versus Beastmen battle where you're going to see not one defensive geometry, but two. That's right, two defensive geometries. And no, it's not a 2v2. So you can see the Empire player here set up in an interesting formation. He's going to have a mortar in one of two little forts that he set up. And each fort has some combination of spears, swords, flagellants, and crossbows. This one has a little bit more over here, so they're not perfectly symmetric, but, you know, not everything has to be symmetric. We've got Boris, 3 crossbows in total, 4 spearmen in total, 2 swords, 3 flagellants, Royal Altdorf Griffite, and a regular Demigriff Knight. The Beastman player is already heading in back here in the back with 3 units of Centaurs with throwing axes. Now these could be devastating to the Royal Altdorf Griffites, but they're making a mistake here, and that is they're within range of all these crossbows. So they needed to keep their distance and be patient, but coming within range of the crossbows, getting mixed up allows the Griffites to catch them. But over here you're going to see the Beastman player who takes the engagement against the Flagellants, and he's going to go ahead and move in quickly with some Centaurs and try and cause some damage. Just speed up my camera a bit here and kind of show you all. The Cygor in the back has already racked up 25 kills. He's actually being pretty effective. And then the 2 mortars have been firing, one of them right now at a spear unit, which is a bit of a low value unit. They should probably target the Bestigor, so we'll see whether or not they change their target. This one's now targeting here into the Gore herd. It did score a hit, which killed their leadership. Back here, Boris catches a unit of throwing axes. So these throwing axes are way too aggressive right now. When you have this opportunity, you can see the Demigriff Knights here. Rather than coming up closer where these missile units can support, he should have come around and tried to get the Demigriff Knights from back here just outside of crossbow range and constantly harass and keep the Demigriff Knights from being able to support the fight. And if the Demigriff Knights come over, for instance, to say attack these Chaos Spawn that are coming in, then you bring in your Centaurs with throwing axes to kill the artillery and the skirmishers. So you have to bide your time with units like that. The throwing axes, though, can be very, very effective against certain units. So you can see the summon Chaos Spawn here from the Beastman player. They don't actually get a chance to charge into the crossbows before the Demigriff Knights come in and attack. So Morger also has a Bray Shaman, Lore of Death, who's going to be supporting him. And you can hear that right there is a Fate of Buna. So one of the Demigriff Knights is going to take considerable damage. I like how there was an Empire Captain with the smaller fort, because then that provides some leadership and stability whenever you've split your forces. So that's a good call. And then the Flagellants are a good call too, because they're unbreakable, and it can ensure that the fight takes a little longer. Now, splitting your forces can very well get you killed. But it sometimes provides an opportunity like this. In this entire mess of a battle here, the Beastmen are split up, and they're being less than effective in most scenarios, and they're having to desperately micro across a lot of scenarios, whereas the micro here is going to be easier for the Empire player. It's easier for him to just kind of react to the overreactions of the Beastmen, and you can see stuff like this where the Beastmen get in here and they want to use their units to overwhelm the Empire. Great, they pile in, they would win this infantry fight, but see then these Bestigor get opened up to the crossbows, and then this Centaur with great weapons is badly needed to get the crossbow, but it's also desperate to take out the mortar. So there's not enough pieces for the Beastmen in the right places to get the job done. And the Empire Captain along with the Flagellants over here are going to hold these units long enough to get the job done. So you can see these crossbowmen now becoming extremely effective. Back here, the crossbowmen are targets for the regrouped Centaurs, and the crossbows continue to wreak havoc. All the magic from the Beastmen is being focused on the Demigriff Knights, and it is an important unit that needs to go. The problem is there's 2 of them. Boris has been running around getting a hold of speedy units, and you can see although the Beastmen are causing some tremendous damage in certain infantry fights, it's not going to be enough. The Cygor has done marvelously. He's picked up 100 kills, make that 110 kills, and he's really done good. but it's just not going to be enough to turn the course of battle. This is going to leave Morger exposed. He's got no meat shields because the infantry and chaos spawn have all been used up. So Morger without a meat shield is pretty squishy. If he has a meat shield, he can heal fast enough to do a lot of damage, but without it, he's going to die. And you're going to see here too the terror from the Altdorf Griffites when you get into a late game engagement. It's brutal. It's brutal to try and stop that as you start taking rear charges from enemy units, or from these terror-inducing units, especially with a faction like the Beastmen. You're just going to take insane losses to that. So I think the Beastmen got a little bit over-aggressive early. They should have thought about how they wanted to single out the two forts. Yes, each fort had a mortar, and that mortar could cause you damage, but I think that maybe the appropriate response would have been to have singled out the weaker of the two forts that the Empire built, and that would have been this one over here. Bring all your forces to bear on this side and focus on that fort. Yeah, the Empire can fire a mortar at you from the other one, but one mortar probably wouldn't be enough. You could leave like one unit of Centaurs with throwing axes, kind of like just outside of range back here, outside of the crossbow range, while bringing the rest of your Centaurs to bear over here. That would probably attract the attention of the Demigryph Knights, again, to come help the weaker one, and you could bide your time and try and do some work with the one remaining unit that you have over there. So, I don't know, just a few thoughts. I think the Beastman player, the Empire divided their forces to begin with, and maybe with a little patience, the Beastman player might have been able to pick them apart, but the Empire player did a really good job here of, even though they had their forces split, there was an appropriate response to either flank. Either flank had enough to make them self-sufficient for a short while, and that's a big deal. Look at the terror here. Just watch these units just insta-rout as they get hit by the Griffites. Look at that. When you get into a late game engagement, the terror is just, it's awful to deal with. Early game, you can take it, but late game, it just gets rough. You can see Morger here taking a lot of damage as well. He's immune to psychology, which is good for him, but he's not immune to being beaten to death by the Empire, and Boris Todbringer is going to see to that. He lost an eye to the Beastmen, and he's not happy about it. This may not be Kazrak, but Boris is going to get his revenge. Boy, is he covered in blood. So yeah, Boris will have his revenge. Maybe he can take Morger's eye and like plug it back in his socket. I mean, it seems like something that you could probably pull off in a universe filled with magic. Hope you all enjoyed this one. This is a fun replay. I just wanted to show you that because it's kind of a different take on defensive geometries, right? Splitting into two. I don't think it's going to work every time, but it worked here, and it was fun. And so I think Ratman put together a very interesting battle for us in that regard. The Beastmen can be something very difficult for the Empire to deal with, and there was a lot of mobility here that I think that the Beastmen, with a little bit more patience, probably could have applied a lot of damage to the Empire. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed this one. HeirofCarthage signing out for now. I'll be back soon with more battles.